Coming to you from the Oddball Podcast Studios in New York City. My name is Vin Forte, and you're listening to Oddball with Vin Forte. Go follow the show over on Twitter at Oddball Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Mighty Vin. Follow me over on Instagram at VinForteNYC. Go follow the show over on YouTube if you're only listening on Spotify or Apple. YouTube.com/@Oddball Podcast. YouTube.com/@Oddball Podcast. That is the number one way to go support the show. There's full segments, full episodes, shorts up there. Go share, do whatever you do to help the algorithm and the computers pew. As my partner over on Wrestle Rap, Emilio Sparks, likes to say. Today, I did not come alone. Got a guest here, but first, before we get to him, I want to give a big shout out to those wrestling girls who had me on their pod earlier this week. With them, Brian H. Waters from the Ringer and Wrestling Realm. So, big shout outs to everyone over there for having me on. Got a couple people subscribing over on the YouTube channel from there. So if you're new, thank you for subscribing. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you enjoyed last week's episode. That was a big one with our friend Seth Rosendahl from SB Nation and Secret Base, talking about Shaq and Kobe. But today, we go from one great guest to another. It's just it's oops all hits on this show. Because we've got our friend Mr. Banks, Random Acts of Podcast, and Pardon the Banks, and Black Announce Table. Like you've seen him everywhere except social media, because he keeps deleting and re-adding his social media over and over.
You didn't have to bring that up, Vinny, but God, okay, yeah. Let me remain mysterious as much as possible. He just blew my whole cover. That's part of my kayfabe.
Fair enough. Banks, how are you?
Good. I feel like I've been on this show more times than anybody else, so it's an honor as a fan.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't think I don't consider you a fan. Like that's you're not what Rito is to Wrestle Rap. Like for people listening to that podcast, but yeah, been on before. I love having you, and let's just stop with all the jibber jabber and just get right into it, because we got a lot to talk about today, especially this man who's been making waves in the NBA this week. Draymond Green, that's a beautiful shot too, of Draymond Green. There's no two ways about it. He's choking out Rudy Gobert. There's no like, oh, was he really, or did he get caught under his arm or something? No, he's choking that man out. Some say is retribution for Rudy Gobert kind of spreading. I don't know what the delicate way of saying that would be. Like, because I want to say starting COVID. That would be overgeneralizing. But he was sort of the first shoe to drop in the NBA when that whole thing happened. So a lot of people this week I heard coming out being like, yeah, I've got no sympathy for Rudy Gobert. Still sort of holding that over his head. But Draymond Green suspended 5 games, and I've been talking about it the past couple of weeks. I think Joe Dumars being installed as sort of Adam Silver's right-hand man. I think the gloves are off now. I think, the leniency that players were getting the past couple of years, I think you're going to start to see that not go back to David Stern levels, but certainly like you're going to have a more middle ground between where it's been, in Adam Silver's tenure thus far.
Well, number one, that technique, yeah, he learned very well, man. He went to lockup straight to the sleeper hole. So wherever he learned that, whatever wrestling school, yeah, you got to go to that. Killer Kowalski probably taught him that, being Draymond with that sleeper hole technique. Number two, if David Stern was here, it would be 55 games instead of 5.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of people this week are going like, oh, well, 5 games, that's too much. I don't know if it's too much, and they've even said that, oh, it's based on his reputation, which, okay, you can argue that. Like, I think, is it unfair that they take into account his past actions? I don't know if it's that unfair. Like, it would be unfair if they gave him more than 5 games, but I think 5 games is like, know if that's like the biggest deal in the world. He choked a man out. Like, regardless of how you feel about Rudy Gobert, like, look at what he's doing there. That is intent to harm, my friend. Like, that is not just, again, like, oh, you accidentally got your head caught where my fist is or where my underarm is. Like, he's choking him out.
Right, and this really comes on the back of, I call it Defensive Player of the Year, the Rudy Gobert Award, because that's what it
Mm.
is. He four-time Defensive Player of the Year. That's where it really started at when Draymond cut that whole shoot promo. I think he was on TNT years ago and talked about that. Well, he's talked about it several times, but we definitely know Draymond should be at least a two-time Defensive Player of the Year candidate, especially in 2017, 2018. I think he got it in 2018, but 2017 he shouldn't have won it when they got Kevin Durant in 2016 season. So that 2016, 2017 season, he shouldn't have got it then. So this is just on the heels of I don't know how Rudy Gobert became like the heel of the NBA besides his man Cat, who I don't know what he was doing with Draymond. It's like he was trying to hold his hips or something. It's like, no, dude, you got to put a little force into that to get him off your mans. But if you pull at his neck to try to get him to stop choking at Rudy, it actually might apply pressure because again, he's locking up the hands. I don't know. Hey, Draymond is a wrestling fan, brother. He know how to work.
He knows what he's doing. So the 5 games. Are you fine with the 5 games? Are you like, oh, it should have been? People were saying like, yeah, I understand you had to do something, but it should have been like 2, 3 games. Or do you think that his reputation like should come into play because he's been suspended 18 times total in his career so far?
Yeah, he should have got Defensive Player of the Year for this move right here. That's definitely Defensive Player of the move worthy. So no, 5 games is more than enough. Again, I'm surprised it wasn't more, but we're from the era of David Stern again. They had a whole brawl between the Nuggets and the Knicks, and I swear Carmelo got like 20 games.
Yeah,
And they were
yeah,
just throwing like he wasn't even like going out there killing people. He was just throwing a couple punches, yeah, but they got 20 games. So this man being suspended multiple times, being Draymond, and then putting a full on lethal choke. Like if he really wanted to apply pressure, he could, God forbid, kill Rudy. Yeah, that probably would have got him 50 games. And then John Morant, that probably would have got him kicked out the league for what he got suspended for.
yeah. Like people say, there's no physicality in the game right now. It's like I don't. This seems pretty physical to me. Now you do get suspended for it, but I've noticed. Have you noticed this year that like there just seems to be a little more physicality going on? Like I forget which game it was. There was another incident or like earlier this year in the in the first couple of weeks of the season where who was it that got like pushed back or like punched at the right under the basket? There was some incident that happened. Now I wish I could remember who it was, but it seems like every year for the past couple of years we're kind of turning back the clock just a little bit on what I had called like a fad in the mid 2010s when people were like, "Oh, the game is boring. Everyone's just chucking up threes. It's not as physical as it used to be." And then last season, I don't know if it was last season or like the season before, that they made it harder to draw fouls, which heavily impacted James Harden, in his first year in Philly. That was a big thing that he had to adjust to because he couldn't bait people into fouls as much anymore. So they were cutting down on that. I feel like the game's getting a little more physical again. Yeah, like not to the extent that it used to be, but certainly like guys are not shy about puffing their chest up anymore. And then again with the All Star game, and this is kind of a separate piece, but them running that back to East versus West this year. Like it feels like we're like every year we take a little step back towards the NBA that a lot of people loved, and I don't know. Is it just me? Like is it just like I'm hoping that this is the case, or do you feel like we actually are like the NBA is making subtle changes that are sort of driving the game back to a place where more people would probably enjoy it compared to where it's been around like the mid 2010s.
I forgot the quote from Thanos in Infinity War, but it's like balance. Everything is restored. You brought the big man game back. So the big man game is officially back because, again, like I always say, you can't teach 7 feet. You can teach people how to shoot threes, but you can't
Right.
teach 7 feet. So now that the big man game is back, you got Giannis, as Bo said, he probably the tall man, even though he's in
Mm,
shape. The tall man game, you got him, you got Chet, you got Vic, and then the big man, Joe Embiid, you got Jokic. So you got the big man game back, where it used to be a guard last decade, guard prominent game, like you said, the 3-point shooting. You got 2-point guards playing 1 and 2. So now with the big players, you got to get a little physical. Now they don't get physical with them, but it's everybody else getting physical. So I felt like when I said that quote about the balance, again, we're from that era where people, Oak was fighting people. I mean, just name it. You always had some type of force on your team, Vernon Maxwell. We won't get that back ever because they don't have those type of players anymore. But I think people now are just like, you know what, they keep calling us soft. Let's show them that we're not soft. And besides that, the check's already clear. If I'm getting 2 or 300 million
yeah.
dollars, and somebody tries to charge me, or they try to paintbrush me, yeah, I got to give you a receipt back because the money's already there. Hell, you give me $50 million and I played in the NBA, I might fight just because I feel like it.
Yeah, people want to assert their dominance. They want to make sure that they're the most important thing on the court. And look, that's true. But segueing into another basketball topic right now, the most important thing on the court right now may be the actual court because they're doing the in-season tournament, and I they started out saying, okay, everyone's gonna have like special uniforms and it's gonna be a spectacle. And then like the week of the first game in the tournament, they're like, oh, by the way, hey, we've got another surprise for you. We've got these special courts that we're gonna do on in tournament game days, and some of them look really cool, and others people are kind of having a big issue with. This is one example from a Pacers game where like this court is maybe a little too blue. Like I can imagine, like I can only imagine playing on a court like this that it would kind of mess up your head a little bit. Like, what do you feel about some of these in-season courts?
I'm gonna be the old man. Number one, I still don't understand this in-season tournament, and not a lot of people do. I don't even think the players do. They just like, all right, cool, we can get an extra $500,000. So let's just play good enough with no defense because nobody's playing defense on Tuesdays and Thursdays when this tournament takes place. Number two, why do I need these courts to justify that we're playing in the tournament? Just put the tournament on there on
Well,
the
it's a
cloud.
visual reminder. If you're flipping through the channels and you see, oh, there's a basketball game on, and the court looks 100% different than you normally see it as, you may stop and watch a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't want to feel like I'm in Tron.
Well, they may have to rethink the way they do the courts because,
Yeah,
like,
are they
yeah,
having a
these
Power
ones, some
Ranger
of them,
tournament?
yeah, because like some of them look really cool when it's like kind of an earth tone color or like a deep purple or like a black, something like that. It looks really cool. When it's like this or like the deep red of like the Miami Heat court, that looks a little like I would not want to play on that. I would not want to watch a full game. It'd be like watching a Virtual Boy. It'd gonna burn my retinas out watching the Heat game. But
I like that.
like as far as the in season tournament, like I like how you were like, I don't get it. These guys are just playing for money. Yes,
Which I'm
yes,
not
they are
against.
playing for money.
Yeah, which I'm not against. Let me justify. I'm not against that because again, $500,000. Don't care if you work for billion. That's an extra five
Right.
hundred thousand for me. And if I was playing for $500,000, they'll think I'm the second coming of Michael Jordan.
Oh, right. But my thing with this in season tournament has been like people gotta let it exist for a little bit because the genius thing about the tournament, and yes, I will say it's genius, is that they scheduled the games on what Tuesdays and Fridays or whatever, and the games still count towards the regular season. So you're saying like, oh well, they don't play as much defense in the in-season tournament game. I don't know if that's necessarily true because they're all still regular season games. It's just they also count towards the in-season tournament. So if you're on a team and you don't care about the tournament, great. Like you don't have to necessarily care about the tournament other than like hating the new court or whatever. But if you are kind of like jazzed up about the in-season tournament, they kind of make it seem a little more important. And you want to build it up because even though it's just going to be one extra game in an entire season, again, it's more money for the players. If you win, if you make it far enough, you get a certain percentage. And then, down the line, like you're telling me the tournament, every tournament, let me back up for a second. Every tournament that's ever existed does not have prestige or did not have prestige until years down the line when people look back and go, what has this tournament been? So if we get at the end of this tournament a month from now, let's say Lakers Celtics in the final, people are telling me they're not going to watch that. If we get next year, Giannis and the Bucks versus Jokic, like people aren't going to watch that. Like it's just another thing to get you to watch the game. Which yes, we get it. Like we're cynical. We understand that it's a money ploy. But some money ploys are bad, and some add to the game, and they're trying to make this something that adds to the game of basketball in the NBA. Again, you could personally take it or leave it, but I don't know. I think that this is not the worst idea in the world, and apparently the ratings have been very good. Apparently the ratings on those nights in some markets are up like a whole like 100%. Like people are into it, and whether it's just like I said, someone flipping through the channels and seeing the court looks different and being like, oh yeah, it's sort of like a big reminder that there's a basketball game on, or they're really genuinely invested in the actual tournament aspect. Like it's kind of working. It reminds me of the playoffs when they changed the playoffs a couple of years ago to have the play in, and everyone was like, I don't know about this play in. And now the play-in's like the most successful addition ever added to a playoff format. Like people are so hyped every year they've done it now about the play-in. Because again, it's all artificial, but but in its artifice, does it add to the excitement of the game? And I think this is to be determined, but I think it's leaning in that direction.
Yeah, and I understand what you mean because we're in a microwave era, so everybody wants to see everything happen so fast. So with me, I don't understand it because I'm just so used to 82 games, playoffs, or now play in, then the playoffs. So with me, I just like I want to watch basketball. But I gotta understand as far as the casual fans go, or the people that just play NBA 2K, because it is people that just play NBA 2K and they barely watch the game that exists. This is for them to be like, hey, come watch the game because it catches your eyes. And it, like Vinny said, is boosting up the ratings because everything is, you got to draw. So you got to draw people into it right now. And, usually around this time, they're doing pretty good with the ratings. They declined 2 years, 3 years ago during the pandemic. Obviously, they declined. Now they're, going back up, especially last season. So you got to draw people in consistently in order for them, to keep having that TV money keep coming in because we don't want another lockout. So I think it's one of the things, like you said, it's we got to see how it happens because the play-in tournament. I was so used to if you didn't make it, if you didn't have a 40+ win record, you're not making it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So the play-in worked well for teams that probably wouldn't have that chance. It's like a second chance, and I like it. They just play a little bit more basketball. So with this, you know, I think it's one of those things where, like, let's wait and see. And it's not like it's every day. It's only Tuesdays and Thursdays anyway.
Yeah, it's only 2 days a week. And again, like if you don't care about the tournament, this is one of the bigger points I've made over the past couple of weeks is that great, you don't have to care about it. Like they could just be regular games to you because they all count towards the schedule. The only game that does not count towards the regular season is this eventual championship game in Las Vegas, which they're probably going to make a huge deal about. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of spectacle and pomp and circumstance. So it's like, if you want to watch it, fine. If not, don't watch it. It's going to be one night that you don't have to watch a game. One night.
The players like that too. Let's say if the Pacers, no disrespect to Indiana, but let's say if the Pacers and on this grain Ohio made it, or the Pacers and the Cavs made it. It's like no disrespect to both of those states, but if I go play my profession in Vegas only for one night, sounds like a win for me. I won't be able to
Yeah.
see Usher because by that time he'll be gone from his residency, but I'll be able to go play.
Yeah, I want to go to Vegas too. You know who probably wishes they could hide out in Vegas right now is these guys, Colorado, who took a fairly, I would say, embarrassing loss this week to Washington State. What was it, 56-14? Not good. Um, but now we're starting to see people when it comes to Colorado. I said this was going to happen. This is not like some, like, oh, I looked at a magic ball and I've got all the answers. Like, no, we saw this coming a mile away. Where this is a reclamation project. I think people forgot that. Where, I see all the memes going around, like the Vince McMahon crying, where it's like, oh, remember that 3 weeks in September when Colorado was the best team in football. And yeah, they got off to a hot start, but don't let that betray the fact that this is a team that won one game last season. And now they're on track to win 4 games this season. So, is that better? Yeah, of course you won 4 times the amount of games than you did last season. So, you'd have to say on some level that's a success. And the amount of money they've brought in, I'm sure the school is happy. I'm sure the school is happy as a pig in shit, like just rolling around in all the money that Colorado has brought in. But as far as the actual team goes, I think they're a long ways off. Like and this is kind of the question I want to pose to you. Like, because they did not temper expectations early, do you think there's going to be people in the transfer portal this coming year that go, you know what? I was thinking last season of going to CU, not so much anymore. Maybe this program isn't what I thought it was. Whereas if they maybe tempered expectations a little bit and said, you know what, this is going to be, we're not going to, this is a challenge for the long term. We're not going to climb that mountain this year. We're going to figure things out. And, this is going to be a long-term project. Maybe people would have looked at Colorado differently and been like, you know what, I want to be one of the missing pieces that gets plugged into this team to make it a success. Because they're missing an O-line right now. They're missing a lot on defense late in the season. And, they just cannot protect Shador. Like, they cannot put points on the board when they face any defense bigger than a gust of wind.
Yeah, so again, for them to even win more than 2 games is a win. Like I don't know if people expected them to go to the national game. That's just highly unlikely, especially when you got a lot of SEC teams that just steamroll most people. Then you
But
got
people
Oregon.
were saying that earlier in the season, like this is going to be the team that could, like they're going to come out of nowhere and just steamroll everyone.
Well, Vinny, we learn every day, especially because you do the Great Wrestle Rap podcast. Most people don't. I could cuss on here, right?
Yeah,
Most people don't know shit about sports. They don't know shit about wrestling. They don't know shit about football. So for them to even think this is like the movie Rudy, like this is gonna be some Hollywood story, highly unlikely. So for them to win as many games as they have already is pretty good. I think, like you said, next season they got to get some offensive linemen. They got to get corner. They got to get overall defense and specialty teams in order. Does this stop anybody from coming to the team? I think not. I think this actually won't, because the thing is, you go to college. Let's be fair. You go to college sports so you can get to the next level, which is the NFL. the NBA. So you're going to play so you can get looked at. It's all eyes on Colorado this season. It will be next season because people are going to say, okay, what they're going to do next season. So if I'm a player
Right.
and I'm good enough to make it to the NFL, I'm going over there. They seem to have a lot of fun. They're making, legal money, but at the same time, you can go over there, see if you can get some not legal money. If you get the not legal money, I'm all for that because college players need to be paid anyway. So I think you're going to have players come over there. Now, they might not know who Coach Sanders is, obviously, because they're not our age. But I'm pretty sure their parents or uncles or whoever be like, "Yo, that's prime. Go over there. If you can get a scholarship to go over there, go over there." So I think they'll be fine next season. I think they'll have a better record next season. Will they win national? No. It's again, man. You got Alabama, you got Oregon, who I got to come out and win a national this year. What do you do when they just recruiting is just top notch?
Well, that's the thing. Like, they never had. Colorado has never seen recruiting like this before. And it's only been the first year. So if they can build on this season, great. Like, I've been telling people all year that you almost can't judge them on this season. You've got to judge them on next season. Because if next season they fall and they've got, let's say, the same record or worse, then it's like, okay, something's going on here. Like, what, like what are they doing over in Colorado that they could take their eyes so off the ball? But as far as this season is concerned, I have no doubt that they're going to look at where the deficiencies are and try and fill those holes, because you can't in college football, you cannot fill those positions in real time. It's not like, oh, it's the NFL and there's a trade deadline and we could try and, we've got a deep bench. It's not like, no, like the first year coach for this school coming in a completely different conference than he's ever been in, dealing with people he's brought in from the transfer portal who a lot of them have never played together before. Um, it's, again, like in some ways, be lucky you won 4 games. But in other ways, people have to recognize that, again, going back to what we said at the beginning, this is a reclamation project. This is not going to be a one and done. Like, I know in college sports, these stories of, single year successes are more prevalent than ever, but not so much in college football, to be honest.
Yeah, my thing is right now, I just want to make sure Shador is good, not just because I know he's,
Yeah.
an NFL draft pick. Like he's definitely a lottery pick. First round pick, I think will he go over Caleb? I don't think so. I think Caleb Williams
No.
is a lot, probably second lock to be a Heisman winner now. But definitely, I think he's a no, potential number one overall draft pick. Being with the Bears because the Bears only get away from Justin Fields. Uh, but for Shador, just for his safety and his draft stock, you want to make sure he's good.
Yeah, because he's banged up right now. I wouldn't be shocked if they deactivated him for the whole season. I mean, whole season, they have like, 2 games left. But we're going to move on from college football to the real deal stuff. We got the Turducken. It is Thanksgiving week coming up, and there is nothing I would rather talk about than the turducken and how it was introduced. Now, it was invented technically in the 70s by some chef. Yeah, we don't care about that. It was popularized, though, back in 1996, Thanksgiving 1996. John Madden, Rams vs. Saints. Who cares about the game? At halftime, they go back to the booth, and he's got a turducken, and he's talking about, and they're asking, well, what is it? He's like, oh, well, a chicken stuffed in a duck, stuffed in a turkey, and it's got like 8 legs or whatever. You can see it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And he's kind of doing like a play-by-play of what this turducken is. And then that led to basically every year after that, Or I think I don't know if it was every year, but I certainly remember them doing it multiple times, where they would bring out the turducken during the Thanksgiving game, and every year he would analyze and go over this turducken. Have you ever actually had a turducken, and what are your thoughts on the turducken itself?
Sir, number one, God bless John Madden. Number two, God bless Will Sasso. Because I just remember that skit from Mad TV. Hey, folks, John Madden here with the
Yeah.
popcorn maker. So,
Oh,
you know, you talking
yeah.
about,
Remember
and
those?
they reference, yeah, they reference the turducken in that. It's simple, Fred. But me, dude, I've never had turducken. As we're talking about it right now, I'm thinking like, where do you buy turducken at? You definitely can't go into your local
No,
Ralphs
you
and
have to
get
make
that.
you got to make that yourself. Yeah, you can't just go into the Piggly Wiggly and get a turducken. You got to
No,
Frankenstein that
and that's not like
together.
a. That's what I was just about to say. You said it perfect, baby. That's definitely a Frankenstein project. You got to combine three different proteins, three different birds
Right.
into one. And first of all, who's gonna eat all that? Like, let's say you make that and nobody eats it. I'll be highly upset. Like, no, you're gonna take this turducken with you. What is a turducken? I don't know, but you're taking it with you.
Yeah.
Fly away with it.
Yeah. It's like that Denzel. I'm leaving with something.
Yeah, you got to give that out to the whole community because it's like, how many people, if you just say, oh, it's a turkey, you'd be like, all right, cool. You kind of get away from it from this picture. I don't know how it looks on the inside or close up, but with a picture, be like, hey, well, I'm giving away some turkey. But then they bite into it, be like, say, this ain't no turkey I ever had.
Yeah, no, like you cut that thing open, and it's a glass menagerie of meats. It is. I'm looking. I'm just. I mean, if you go Google turducken insides, it just
Hey,
looks
yo,
like meat. It just looks like meat inside of meat inside of meat. I'm not even. I was gonna play it on the screen. I'm not even gonna because I don't
we
know
here.
if yeah
Commit,
we're here.
commit. Always use
No.
the acting mindset when it comes to podcasting. Commit. If you're about to say it, say it.
Why does it? I don't know what YouTube will make of it. It's like such an abstract. Again, go look it up for yourself. It's such like an abstract pile of meat. I don't know if YouTube's gonna ban it or something, but it
Wait, does it just look like turkey? I mean, you got me scared now.
it's like meat inside. It's what you think it is. It's meat inside of meat inside of meat. It almost looks like fake. It almost looks like tofurkey. But like how people can like put stuff inside of it and like sort of carve out the inside and they're okay, well now we're gonna put like meat, meat inside of the meat.
Sounds like a
Triple
party
meat.
in Hollywood.
The triple meat
Instead,
Thanksgiving.
instead of MMG, MMM,
Listen.
Mighty Meat Men.
Well, you got the big meaty man slapping me. I can't do a John Madden impression. I would have to call Frank Caliendo up and have him.
There you go, Frank. Not Will Sasso. Frank Calvino would do it. My fault.
Yeah, no. Will Sasso did the. He did Jesse. He does Jesse Ventura. That's what he
Yeah,
does.
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, and Steven Seagal. Another weird person, Steven Seagal. But
He
so
definitely
so
eat
bottom
turducken
line,
every day.
would you if someone puts a turducken in your face right now, are you eating it?
Not with three meats inside of it.
No, but that's the whole thing. You gotta try the meat. You gotta try all three. You gotta get like a big forkful of all three of the meats.
Again, I got to see how it looks on the inside before I commit to that. So I lie. Don't commit to it unless you see how it is. And then, if you got an allergy for, that's what I feel bad for. Anybody has an allergy to chicken, duck, or turkey. This is just your worst day ever if you eat this by mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Disgusting.
You're absolutely not wrong. I'm gonna see. Let me see if I can bring it up right now, really quick. If you're watching on YouTube, we're gonna try
We're
and
gonna
get
do it.
this. We're gonna get this turducken.
You get to see
We
the
are gonna.
inside of the turkey, duck, and chicken.
Yeah, yeah, we're doing it. Here, 1 second.
Yeah, let's see if this
So here, now
SEC
you
ready.
see. Hey, can we get away with showing Turducken?
I think so. Is that how it looks? That's not even a close up. That's not bad. I'm thinking you was gonna show. I totally thought it was gonna look something totally different than that. Yeah, that's not. It just looked like a sandwich,
Yeah, just
like
kind
a
of.
huge sandwich.
See, this is it carved up though. This is like I don't know because you look at this area right here, like in the back, where it looks like
Yeah, I
the
don't
turkey just.
understand it
Yeah, that looks like the turkey exploded.
because the rest look fine. Like the rest just looks like chicken pieces.
People put like stuffing. See, this is what I'm worried about though, because like the turkey part is big, it's bold, it looks delicious, but then like everything's just kind of stuffed into the very middle, and I don't quite know
Yeah,
how I feel about that.
maybe they didn't layer it out, but I don't know how well you could layer out putting three different meats inside one thing.
I mean, it's a monster. I mean,
Yeah,
this is probably like the nicest way they could do it, where like it's very everything's just almost like kind of very lean, where it's like okay, there's a little turkey, there's duck, there's a little chicken in there. I would eat
that's
that. Like
dressing.
now that I'm really like looking at it. Oh, this one looks like a butthole. I'm not eating this one. This is
The Meg Turducken.
it's like they just shoved a little sausage in the middle of that just to play around with us. But yeah, turducken.
Hey man, put some hot sauce on it. You'll eat it. Put hot sauce on any type of bird. You'll be good to go.
You think?
Yeah, honestly, if you put red rooster on that, I'll eat it or crystals. I'll be good to go.
All right. You going Red Rooster as your hot sauce of choice?
Always go red rooster, then crystals.
Really, crystal? See, I can never get into. I feel like crystals is just a little too vinegary, a little too light. Like I want a little bolder hot sauce. I think Frank's is a good like standard hot sauce. You could add a little bit to it. You could use it on its own. Like I think that's a good standard. Cholula, Chipotle, I think is good. But
Yeah,
obviously, like if you're gonna go like more regional hot sauces, like those are always gonna be better than the sort of stock, Frank's, Tabasco, whatever you got in this in your in everyone's
I can't
grocery.
lie. I thought you would be
Yeah.
a Tabasco man.
No, I don't know. Something about Tabasco. Like I don't like super vinegary hot sauces. I feel like hot sauce should give you a little more than that.
Yeah, Tabasco just tastes like sweat after you hoot for like 6 hours straight.
Yeah, it's just hot sweat. On that note,
That's
when
all
you're
it
when
is.
you're having hot sweat, you know what you need to cool down from it is Baskin Robbins Thanksgiving Fixins ice cream. Would you have this? This
Absolutely. Before
delicious.
you even finish. Absolutely. You don't need to sell me anymore. I know you were gonna try to sell it. Thank you, Vinny. This is why you're really good at this. No need to sell me, brother. Also, where do I already said Baskin Robbins, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried it this week. I got a scoop while I was out and about this week, and I can confirm, absolutely delicious. It has pieces of cornbread in it, like a cranberry like swirl, like jelly swirl, and then just like the sweet, like sweet potato, ice cream flavor with the cream and oof. This is a damn delight. This is something else. Like this is something that I know they can't because it's a limited flavor and it's tied to Thanksgiving. But if they did this all year long, oh yeah, well, I get it like once a month. No question.
Okay, so what we need to do is just buy a couple cartons, store it in the freezer. If it expires, just leave it in the freezer for a day later. That doesn't make sense, but just listen to me. We'll make it work.
No, that doesn't work.
Well, that's what people do with Thanksgiving leftovers. You know that, right? It's a limit to it.
But you said if it expires, just leave it in the freezer an extra day and it'll
But
be
no,
good.
no, that's what people do with leftovers. I don't know. Maybe it's a science to it. There's some people that eat leftovers a week after from Thanksgiving, which means they
I
want to
can't.
die.
I was gonna say I can't do that. Like, you do the leftovers. Like to me, the general rule is you get your to go plate or your to go Tupperware or whatever, and you bring the leftovers home, and you've got 24 hours to make a meal out of it, make sandwiches, whatever you want to do. 48 hours tops if it's something that can hold, like stuffing. Okay, I could parse out the stuffing for the rest of the week, but like in general, the whole meal, you've got like 24 to 48 hours to eat that. None of this. I'm saving all my Thanksgiving food to hoard during December, and I'm going to eat it during Christmas. No, you can't. You can't be doing that.
Hey man, some people do that. Not far as Christmas though. I hope not. But it's the whole Plies video. If you never seen when he started breaking it down, like, hey, a day after, that's when it's at its best. 2 days later, all right. 4 days, you pushing it. 5 days, you got worms. 6 days, you in the hospital. 7 days, you dead. Like that's the
Well,
rules.
what's the thing? Some people have this idea that I can leave it a couple extra days. I'll just put it in the microwave and nuke it, and that'll kill whatever like bacteria has been growing on this thing. And it's like, okay,
No,
even if that were true, the fact that I'm aware at that point that it's gotten bad, I wouldn't even try to, like, I would feel so terrible trying to eat it after the fact, knowing that it already spoiled, even if I could bring it back.
yeah, I'm good at that point. All right, cool. So Thursday or the day after is cool, like the Friday. All right, Black Friday, you eating Thanksgiving food. That's fine. That's the day after. Like with me and food, I got a rule. First of all, I only buy stuff I know I'm about to eat in a day, no later than 2 days. Like everything I buy, I'm pretty much gonna eat within the day. But anything like that,
Yeah.
yeah, up until Saturday, after like Saturday is the last day. Like I don't like leftovers. I hate when people just have stuff in the refrigerator or freezer that's just been sitting forever and they still go buy new food. Like, no, eat that shit first. And then, with
Yeah.
Thanksgiving again, it's like, I'm good, man.
Yeah, like I get into arguments with my dad about that because he knows I go shopping all the time for groceries, and he's like, just do one big trip every week, and you wouldn't have to go. I'm like, first off, I don't mind going. Second of all, no, because I know what's gonna happen. Like we all do it. You're gonna buy stuff in bulk when you do the one trip. You're gonna put it in your fridge, and then 2 weeks are gonna go by, and you're gonna be like, ah, I should have ate that, and there's gonna be a bunch of stuff that you just wasted money on now. So it's like I'd rather just like every couple of days, just restock. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna buy stuff that'll last. The stuff, the non-perishable stuff, canned good, stuff that's gonna last a lot longer. But if you're gonna buy like vegetables and fruit and stuff, like you can't be buying that for the next month in one trip. Like you can't.
Exactly. And then again, with Thanksgiving, going back to that, hey, man, if y'all want Thanksgiving food so bad, fucking go to Boston Market. They got Thanksgiving food every day.
Do Popeyes? Popeyes, they got that Cajun turkey.
You go. And so it's like, all right, cool. I miss Thanksgiving food. Cool. Let me go to Popeyes or Boston Market. Here you go. You can reminisce about Thanksgiving 2 days ago that way.
Now you know what we gotta do. This gotta do the old one too. You get Turducken, then you get the Turkey Day ice cream, and then I guess you pass out and die after that. Like that's a
Yeah,
lot
it's a
of
lot of combinations. I'm about to say
that's a
at that
lot of
point
stuff.
you might as well go to Popeye and get the Cajun turkey as well. Let's just go all the way with it.
Yeah, just give me everything. Get the Turducken, stuff it with the Turkey Day fixins. Uh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't mix your
And then
sweets
eat
and
the
your
ice cream.
savories.
That'd be the side because technically this is the sides. They just combine it
Yeah.
into a dairy
Then
product.
you
So
no
there you
no
go.
now then you get the Jones soda. You get the Jones Thanksgiving sodas, and then you
I'm
drink
not
some of
familiar with
those.
that.
Oh, they're like the novelty sodas where it's like, oh, here's the Thanksgiving set, and it's like, mashed potato flavored soda and like turkey
Huh?
flavored soda.
Beg your pardon. Say that again.
Yeah, mashed potato soda, like turkey flavored soda, green bean flavored soda, cranberry flavored soda. Like they have a whole set. They do it for all the holidays. Like Christmas comes out, they got like their Christmas set of soda where it's like peppermint soda and like eggnog soda.
We're going to define Jones. I know they've been out since like the 1800s, probably 1902, or whenever they're like, yeah, see, whenever they start talking like that, well, we're going to get rid of Jones. I'm not drinking no mashed potato flavored soda, no turkey soda, none of that. I'll rock with you. The green bean might actually be all right. I'm not going to hold you. Green bean might be all right. Peppermint, definitely. But mashed potato, it's like, dude, yeah, yeah, we're going to get you up out of here, Jones.
Yeah, well, speaking of getting people up on out of here, we're gonna wrap things up right now, Mr. Banks. Where can people find you? I know you like to play all mysterious, but where can people find you if
Playing,
they want?
I am mysterious.
I was gonna say this is not a game. Like,
I am the knight. No. Thank you for having me as usual. I am a mark for this show and Russell Rap. I'm not saying that because you're my guy and so also Sparks, aka Shang Tsung, the Italian Shang Tsung. I'm just legit a mark for both products. But anybody that wants to follow me at the man called Banks on IG. Once again at the man called Banks on IG. You can see everything that's going on. Just use my IG to promote, post music and stupid stuff, and that's about it. Otherwise than that, anybody's listening to this, I hope you subscribe to Oddball on YouTube. I understand
yeah,
Spotify and all that, but subscribe on YouTube. Hit that like button. Get the algorithms and the computers pew.
yeah. Like the man said, youtube.com/ at Oddball Podcast over on YouTube. Go follow me over on Twitter at Oddball Podcast over there as well. For the personal accounts at Mighty Vin. On Instagram at Vin Forte NYC. If you're listening over on Spotify or Apple Podcast, go leave a nice 5-star rating and a review. It's a great way to help the pod. Again, outside of subscribing to YouTube. And I know we got Thanksgiving coming up this week, but there will be a new episode. Maybe some surprises. Again, who knows? The only way to find out is to stay subscribed. So go ahead and do that. And with all that said, thanks to Banks again for coming through. And he's not going to be back next week, but I'll be back next week. It's my podcast. So I'll see you back here same time, same place. Bye-bye.
I'll be back.